Well, no, it's also looking at the accommodative amplitude, so how much accommodation is left in that individual. So I might be 45 and have become fully presbyopic and have completely lost my accommodation. There might be someone who's 50 who still might be able to accommodate. So that's why I'm saying the age is very arbitrary. We actually do a really thorough assessment in our clinic. We measure the accommodative amplitude, we measure how much accommodation remains, we measure the near vision unaided, and we make an assessment based on all these things, whether you would be a better candidate for ICL or RLE.
Do lifestyle factors come into consideration as well? Like if somebody does a lot of driving, maybe at nighttime, would that be something that you also take into
Not so
account?
much. I mean, basically, when we can keep our natural lens and put in a reversible Collamer lens, we will do that. But it makes no sense to do that for someone who already has a cataract, so their lens is clouded up, or for someone who, I mean, you can even do it for someone who has become presbyopic, and you can do a monovision setup with the ICLs. So you aim one eye for near and one eye for distance, because that will combat some of that near vision. There is also an ICL on the market called the ICL Viva, which is actually an extended depth of focus ICL. The only issue with it is that it doesn't correct astigmatism at this stage. So there's not that many people that are candidates for just the non-toric version of the ICL Viva, because most patients have some degree of astigmatism. If you look at our RLE or our cataract lens data, most of my patients get a toric lens. So it just is a bit limited at this stage, but I'm sure that that will change in the future, and that will open up another category there. And then you'll have kind of a bit more of a range for the ICL in that kind of middle age group, that pre and post presbyopic age group. But at the moment, generally, I'm using ICLs more in my pre-presbyopic patients and RLE more in my post-presbyopic patients. And actually in that grey area, Presbeyond is a really good tool.
Right. Okay. So, so with the lens exchange, would you say that nearly all of those lens exchanges that you do include some kind of like multifocal
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
capability? Yeah.
Yeah, because we want to correct for all distances, so distance, computer, and reading. One issue with multifocal lenses traditionally is that you can get some glare and halos at night. So it's like an aura around lights at night, or artificial lights. Some people mention it going through the tunnel, the cross-city tunnel, things like that. I find with the later technology, there are certain lenses on the market that have greatly reduced glare and halo. So like the Galaxy from Rayner is a lens that really does have reduced dysphotopsia. I find the Odyssey from J&J has very limited dysphotopsia. We sometimes do a mix and match approach as well to try and limit the glare and halos. And I talk about that with my patients in depth at our consultation. But I find that generally with the quality of the lenses and with neuroadaptation and with the right lens selection, so selecting the lenses appropriately for patients based on different parameters, that's really not a major issue for most patients. And ICL has its own kind of quirks. So in the immediate post-operative phase, post the implantable Collamer lens, patients sometimes report a little bit of glare around lights in a circular distribution, and that's actually relating to the central aperture of the lens. So they're actually seeing that central hole project onto lights. Again, after a few weeks, this dissipates or it completely resolves. So it's really not a long-term problem for most patients, but it's something I warn my patients about. So you can see that they all have kind of their own quirks. They all have things that you need to consent patients for.